Donald Trump said in an interview with Meet the Press, he said Florida's 6-week abortion ban was a terrible mistake.
Protecting unborn babies that have detectable heartbeats is not terrible. It's noble. It's just. And it should be something that anyone says that they're pro-life would embrace. I don't see how you could claim to have been at one time pro-life and then turn around and say that it's terrible that a state would enact protections for life. And we did, I think, what most people were hoping states would do once Dobbs came down. So it's something that I'm proud that we did. It was the right thing. It was based on science and data and evidence in terms of that detectable heartbeat. And there's a bunch of other states that did similar. And I think that they stood up and stood for life as well. So what you can't do is, especially on fundamental issues, you can't say that, the question, should an unborn that has a detectable heartbeat, should they be protected or not? Or can it just be flushed away? And it doesn't matter if 80% of the people think it should be protected or only 20% of the people think it should be protected. It's not a poll question. It's a fundamental question about your values, about what you think. I think this country is based on the idea that we're endowed by our Creator with certain unalienable rights, starting with the right to life. So when I have that in front of me, that decision is, of course, it's something that's willing that you should protect. It's not terrible to be able to save lives.
No compromise.
Well, here's the thing. It's one thing to say that there are strategic judgments that can be made about how to advance the cause. I'm not saying you shouldn't do that. In fact, I've welcomed people to have thoughtful ways. Texas is going to be different than California. How do you advance the cause of life in California? You may have to have you have to trim your sails to try to make some progress. There's nothing wrong with doing that. But that's something different than saying once a state has already enacted protections, to castigate that as being something that's terrible. And here's the thing, the damage that he did with that is more than just his campaign. There's going to be potentially on the ballot in Florida a referendum for a constitutional amendment to basically have abortion on demand. The left is pursuing it. And if that passes, that means a legislature can never do anything to protect life. Do you think they're going to run ads to Republicans and independents showing Trump, to Trump voters, saying Trump didn't like this, vote the other way? For us, of course they are. They're going to weaponize what he said to try to defeat the cause of life. And so it was a really hurtful thing. It was really harmful. And I remember watching his March for Life speech when he went. I thought it was an excellent speech. He spoke, look, he was on a teleprompter or whatever, but he spoke. The words he spoke were talking about the dignity of every life. I mean, look, we're better as a society when everybody counts, and there's a long road necessarily to realize that in totality. But when states are taking positive steps in that direction, thank them, give them kudos, welcome that, don't denigrate it.
He said that he would negotiate a deal and that we would have basically a national law, whatever that deal was. Isn't that what Dobbs said shouldn't be done?
Well, not only that, I mean, what he's basically saying, by saying you're going to make the Democrats happy, understand this is a political party that will not say whether a baby that is one day away from being born should have legal protections. They will not commit to that. You ask every major Democrat, Kamala Harris, Newsom, they hem and haw, they won't say that. So saying that you're going to make them happy, if they're happy, then it's something that's going to be really, really bad. And I think what he was referring to in his mind is, he would set some type of outer limit that the Democrats would have to agree to, but then any protections within that would be wiped away from the states. And so if Iowa has protections for heartbeat, that would be eviscerated in favor of this federal, which would mean you'd be losing more ground than you would be gaining. So that's not something that's going to work. And here's the thing. We had 50 years under the Supreme Court's regime where they imposed, without a text, history, and structure of the Constitution, abortion on demand. That changed the culture in this country. And the pro-life movement's done admirable work to shift the culture in a more pro-life direction. I think technology and science has done that too, because you see, I remember seeing, hearing the heartbeat for my firstborn very early on. I remember seeing the sonogram, very, very powerful. And so I think that that's helped. But there's more that will need to be done just on the cultural level for sure. And I totally get that. But man, if people are putting points on the board for the cause of life, we should thank them for doing that. Don't denigrate.